Hi everyone, I'm Jana and I'm the co-founder of Kind Community, and this is the Kind Community show where we share stories of founders, activists and influencers promoting positivity and protection of our planet, discussing how collaboration can help make this sustainable, attainable and accessible for all. On today's episode, we have John Pritchard, the founder of Pala, an eyewear brand built on keeping an impact on the planet low and our impact on people high. Pala delivers lasting change, empowerment, and opportunity through funding eye care projects across Africa, whilst creating sustainable sunglasses to help you get the best of the natural world that we call home. Launched in Brighton in 2016, Pala falls nowhere short of being an exemplary, sustainable brand that positively impacts people and planet, in which we can all learn and be inspired by. Today, we're going to be learning a bit more about John, his journey to launching, as well as growing Pala and its impact on the communities in Africa. So John, thank you so much for joining me today.
Good afternoon, and I'm glad we got our technical issues all sorted out.
Yeah, so apologies for the live viewers today being a couple of minutes late. John and I had a bit of technical difficulties, but we're here now. We seem to be all good and connection is strong. So we're going to crack on as we can. And I also want to put a slight caveat, is that my next door neighbours seem to be doing some house renovation. So if you do hear any background noise, it's that. So it's going to be a great show. So to start, I'd love to know where this journey began for you. You founded Pala in 2016. I'm sure there was a lot of thought and experience that led you up to that point and where you are today. And was there a particular moment that shaped or even inspired you to become a sustainable founder?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a confluence of moments, but I actually registered the company back in 2011. So it was sort of it's 5 years before we even started trading that the idea had come to mind. But this was sort of going hand in hand with the fact that whilst I enjoyed my working career, working for some nice corporate companies, that there wasn't enough purpose in that work. And add that to, I was at a conference, I was formerly at Microsoft, and I was at a conference and they had Blake Mykowski from Tom Shoes talking. And sort of when he was talking about the fact that, buy a pair of shoes, give a pair of shoes, that sort of simplistic idea of putting a social cause at the heart of your business really resonated with me. So I guess if you were looking for that line in the sand, that was probably it. But that sort of went hand in hand with my own personal desire to want to do something with a bit more purpose with my career. So those two things together, and then obviously, from 2011 to 2016, it was just doing the sort of the pre-work in order to do that.
So there are a lot of people that look at impact and restoration solely in relation to the environment, but Pala takes a holistic approach from sustainable design to empowering communities and beyond. Before going on further details, can you walk me through other founders' processes and the process of founding a business that has sustainability at its core and woven through all its processes? What would you say to people that are skeptical about putting people and planet rather than profit as their purpose?
Well, on that last question, we only have to look around us now at the environment around us and the problems with supply chains. Know that we can't just have businesses now that sort of continue with that old way of working. You have to have people, profit, and planet on that same even keel. Which, as you know, with the B Corp movement, that is a fundamental part of becoming a B Corp. You have to change your legal positioning to reflect that. So. It's something that's it's going to happen more and more in the future. It has to happen for the good of the future of this planet. Now, in terms of how I started with Pala, it was actually social impact was my core. That was my core passion. It was learning about the impact in Africa of giving eye care or corrective surgery or glasses to people, and how economically empowering that was. And that's again, it was that simple notion for me, which was so powerful. And that is how I actually founded the business, is on that single notion. But at the same time, I wasn't going to sort of compromise in other areas of the business. So you do look at this sort of lens of, pardon the pun, the lens of looking through of minimizing our environmental impact, as well as looking at seeing where we can extend our social impact. So yeah, as you'll see across various parts of the business, we've looked to do that as much as possible. And really, as a business, we've always taken that sort of those steps. But equally, it's not about trying to set yourself up right from the start to try and do all those things, because you'll never launch the business. It's very complicated, very time consuming, and it can cost a lot of money. So it's a case of just taking small positive steps each and every time. And we're 5 years old effectively now. It's only really now that I kind of feel that we're kind of getting ourselves in a strong place. But it has taken all those sort of years of steps to get there.
A couple of years ago, you mentioned that you read an article on the global problem of the lack of access to eye care. Ultimately, knowledge is power, and you chose to create a solution to this issue rather than run away from it. Can you tell us a bit more about this global problem and how a pair of spectacles can be a tool for life?
Yeah, absolutely. So, 10% of the world's population can't access eye care, and where we work in Africa in particular, 73% of more people in Africa are unable to access eye care than any other place in the world. So it's a real acute problem. Places like Ghana, where I visited, 95% of people can't access affordable eye care. So you can see the real disparity. Whereas you and I can go down the road and we're probably finding opticians on the corner of our street. And this is what really got me, is like it's a tool. A pair of glasses is effectively a tool for empowerment. And where we've been in Ethiopia, we saw school kids with new glasses. It was allowing them to read the blackboard. Otherwise, you sit at the back, you can't even read what the teacher's written on the board, or it's reading a book at home. And equally, where we were in a region there, we met some women weavers who, again, without threading a needle, they couldn't sew. And for that reason, a pair of glasses is effectively the difference between being able to do your job properly. And it's just, again, that's reiterating what I was saying earlier. It's the simplicity, really, for me, which is what I like about the whole equation. And it's so instantly impactful. And giving people a pair of glasses is like a tool for life, and it can just, it can extend. So, in terms of a positive impact. There's a load of studies that we work with Vision Aid overseas, who are our partner on this, that shows the impact on people's lives. And also there's other elements to this too. Women around the world, 55% of women are impaired by lack of access to vision. So again, there's inequality there. So again, hopefully in a very small way, we can help start addressing a bit more of the equality issues that exist in that situation.
Just to expand on that, for every pair of sunglasses sold, you give back to eye care programs in Africa. You provide grants to vision centres, dispensaries, screening programs. Can you expand a bit more about your partnership with Vision Aid in Africa?
Yeah, so Vision Aid overseas, it's UK charity, and in essence, we have an agreement, and that agreement is that we provide grants directly into projects. What I didn't want to do is set the business up just to pay into a charity. I wanted our customers to know exactly where their money has gone. So in 2018, we refurbished a whole vision centre in a place called Chinsali in Zambia. That serves the region of around 80,000 people. It sees around 2,500 people a year. And again, it's about coming up with long-term strategy. Now, it's not just us, obviously, on the ground doing that. There's NGOs and there's local government, etc. But it is about being involved in projects which have long-standing, opportunity to serve a local population, and it's been incredibly successful. The feedback from that, and I think I was speaking to the sort of the director of the Vision Centre that's out there recently, and he was saying they did a week where they did 900 people in a week. So that's crazy numbers. But it's wonderful to hear, because each and every person is having potentially a new opportunity in their life as a result of that very small interaction, whether it's through a pair of spectacles or just having a bit of corrective surgery on their eyes.
Incredible.
There are other projects. Of course, we've just done a schools project in Ethiopia this year. That was having a whole school screened and all the teachers screened, and the teachers upskilled to be able to screen other pupils. So again, it's not about just dropping and leaving. It's kind of ensuring that there's when the project is over, that there's ways in which people can educate within and continue that service.
Yeah, long-lasting impact.
Yeah.
You're a V Corp certified business, which is not easy feat, but an honorary recognition. For those who haven't heard of V Corp certifications, can you tell us a bit more about what it is and the process of applying as a business?
Yeah, so B Corp, it's been around probably since early 2007. It started in the US. It's come across into the UK, I'd probably say in the last 5 or 6 years. And there's probably, I think there's about 500 B Corps in the UK. And what it is, I mean, in my sort of base terms, what I call it is it's a catch-all certification. So what it will do, it will certify your business across every single part of whatever you do, whether it's governance, what employees, giving back, all those sort of territories, and you basically get a score off the back of that. And if you get over a certain score, which is 80 points, so those that are interested, then you become certified as a B Corp. And effectively, what it is, it's the highest certification you can get for environmental and social impact. So it's a really nice way to kind of especially for business and actually for a lot of new businesses, because there are a lot of certifications out there like GOTS and Fair Trade, etc., and they're not always necessarily specific to what you're trying to do, whereas the B Corp certification does allow for that, and also allows for you not being particularly good in places, but gives you a nice carrot and stick kind of motivation to get better in those places. So it won't penalise you like some certifications for not being great in some places. And again, I think that's an important thing, because when you're starting a business or launching a business, it's very hard to be able to hit all those metrics right from the off. So and you have to recertify every 3 years. So it's not it's not a club for life. You have to put the effort in and make sure you're still doing well, and actually you want to get competitive really, and trying to improve your score every 3 years and see how far you can get with it. So Patagonia and the like are in there, so maybe one day I can score higher than them. It'll be tricky, but I'll give it a go.
You got to give it a good go. So sustainability is of course not black and white. Yeah, it's nuanced, but it's often important, particularly for retail businesses, is communicating impact with your customers. Yep. What are some of the challenges faced? And do you think there are ways some retailers communicate their sustainability goals and strategy better than others? And is there a fear of being too ambitious and in turn risking not achieving those goals, e.g. like net zero?
Yeah, they're all really good questions. Look, it's from my experience at least, the only way you're really going to carry people on your journey is if you're really authentic from the start and you demonstrate that authenticity. There is a lot of greenwashing out there. I was reading a report, and it's a 2021 European Commission report, but 42% of companies that are sort of making sustainability claims are either exaggerated, false, or not valid at all. So it gives you 42% of companies marketing their sustainability claims are either are not true in any capacity. So it shows you the problems that there are out there, and it just makes it hard also for the smaller companies like ourselves to get ourselves above that, because we can get sort of thrown into that same bucket. Arguably, people think, well, if there's no sort of trust in what people are reading, then how do we try and get ourselves to communicate that better? And just going back to what I said, we've always we've got a lot of video on our site, so we tend to go to a lot of the locations where we're having impact, and that's with the weaving communities in Ghana who make our cases. Because it's really important to tell about those stories, and it's also equally important to ensure that they see that they're being respected for their work and what they're doing. So it is important for us to show people what we're doing, not just say it. So it's sort of walking the talk. Is that right? Have I got the right way around? Yeah, it is walking the talk, and sort of emphasising where we're making our change. And we have an impact page, so you can go on there and see the amount of money we've put into projects across Africa, and where we've helped in other places, how we minimise or reduce our plastic, our CO2, and all that kind of stuff. So it's all there, and of course we can always do better. But I think trust is a very important thing, and we have to be wary of those companies that may have a conscious collection on the high street, which might be very good for the 5% of the company that's representing in terms of their sales, and but not doing anything in other parts of the business. So I'm a big advocate of championing the smaller companies out there, because lo and behold, they all seem to be trying to do it with the best intention, and they're able to do it from a grassroots because they're doing it properly. Whereas if you've got a big sort of oil tanker of a company out there that's trying to change, you can't just chop and change your supply chain overnight and make all these changes. It's really, really hard to do that. So it's an incredibly complicated situation for them, but they do need to do that ultimately for us to have a better future all round.
Yeah, and the studies and the surveys about the actual pound for pound income that you spend with a local organisation, a smaller business, that's more likely to go back into the local community rather than being dispersed amongst a large global corporation is immense. I think it's something like for every £1, it's close to the same as £6 being spent locally. So in itself helps the local environment and where you live. It's good to support the local guys.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
John, with COP26 being like just on the doorstep and around the corner, what are you hoping comes out of the discussions, and where do you see the conversation going?
Look, you've got to go into this and take a lot of hope that the governments involved are really going to sit up and listen. It's in the weeks running up to that, you kind of hear about how we're already missing targets, even on the basis of what they're sort of going to be sort of guaranteeing. So but look, we've just got to. That's what these events are for: is to hold the. This is a very visible thing, and it's to hold all these governments to task. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of protesting out there. But we've got to find solutions here. And I'd love to be up there and sort of representing the brand. We've got a little stand up there actually in one of the event spaces, which is quite nice. But yeah, we've got to push on some very big numbers here in terms of we've got to look at seeing how we can laser focus on reversing the issues with biodiversity and looking at sort of regenerative practices, all these kind of things that ultimately will lead to a far better future to the planet. And clearly a lot of these things have to start at we've had great successes with things like the plastic shopping bag, people paying 10p for that. We just got to do that multiple times over in multiple different situations now, and getting consumers to make those small changes, because it's no point in very few of us making all the big changes. We need to take everyone on that same journey and ensuring that we make it easy for people to understand and then get on. It's just getting people on. I always think of it as a step ladder. There's people right at the top of that step ladder doing everything great and well, but the vast majority of people are still just trying to grasp that first rung, and we need to make that as easy as possible for people to access. Mm-hmm. So it needs. Well, I'm talking not from a retail point of view, but for high street and retail to make that easier choice for customers and provide the choice to make better decisions for the planet. But equally, it needs a heck of a lot coming from upstairs and making proper, strong decisions and proper penalties for people that don't toe the line. So look, I'll be really interested to see what comes of it. I'm always sort of half full kind of person, so I'm hoping that we'll get some really good, strong sort of feedback from it, and we'll certainly do a piece on it when it's all kind of died down and examine it. And I know everyone's going to be examining it because it's important for everyone's future. It really is. This is arguably the biggest conference in terms of what's going to govern the next few years for our planet. So we have to hold on to this and listen to exactly what they're saying.
Totally true. So, John, what's next for yourself and Pala? And can anyone become an ambassador?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay, hang on. Let's answer these questions first. So at the moment, we've only ever been sunglasses, which is great, but it does mean that you're forever trying to chase the sun around the globe when you're trying to sell sunglasses. So right now, we're trying to get bigger in Australia and the sort of sunbelt of the USA. But what we're going to do, we're going to start launching into blue light frames and some spectacle frames next year. So a slightly more defensive mechanism for us, but obviously offering our customers a wider suite of choice for their eye care. So that's a short-term thing, and it's really for us. It's the more we can do, or the more sales we can do, the more we can impact some of these projects. There's so many projects, over there in Africa, which we would love to get involved with. There's a lot more vision centres that can be built. Say the weaving community we work with in Ghana to make our cases. There's a lot of stories coming out of there. We'd love to build wells and all kinds of stuff for the community. It's not just about them making our cases. It's about having a far deeper resonance with our supply chain and seeing where else we can help. So it's all we're not a big company. It's all hands on deck, and it's just a case of not burning out and making sure we can keep our customers happy. So that's the main bit for the business. And then I guess, can anyone become an ambassador? Yeah, that's a good question. We do have some ambassadors. Look, if people want to champion our eyewear and talk about it authentically, again, it's really important for us that if we have an ambassador, we don't want to work with people that just put sunglasses on and don't really genuinely feel that what we're trying to achieve. It has to be a real connection with us as a brand, and then feel the kind of almost like the pride of wearing the sunglasses and what it represents. So, look, let's. I don't normally say we normally got quite a rigid sort of ambassador structure, but actually there's no reason why we can't have a few people out there who, if they're feeling passionate about our frames and want to represent us, then we'll certainly send out a few frames.
Thank you. Thanks for that, John. So finally, a quick fire round. How do you define sustainability?
Oh God, that's not a quick fire answer. I think the best definition I've seen, it's basically sustainability is meeting our own needs without compromising the needs of our future generations. To me, that sort of encapsulates probably best. Otherwise, if you start going back to sustainability, because there's so many different elements of sustainability, we can go off into all kinds of tangents. But ultimately, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to leave this planet in a better place than we left it. For the next generations, we leave it. So it's that kind of. To me, that feels the sort of probably the simplest answer.
And what are you most hopeful for?
Well, do you know what? I'm hopeful for the fact that the generation that is coming through are really kicking at our feet here and saying, "Look, you guys have got to do stuff." And in the world we work, and I'm sure you've seen in obviously your business and company, there are a lot of people really engaged in this process and wanting actively to make change and authentically. And I'm meeting so many people who just want to give time or want to have a chat or give some help, and that's great because this again is a new way of doing business. It's everyone's in it for this greater good and greater purpose, and I think that's a really wonderful thing to see from a business perspective. But again, I've got a 13-year-old daughter. And I've got to be careful she doesn't call me out on anything because she will, and her friends at school do. So it's that kind of thing, and so I'm hopeful that this is a very transitional period. We may not see the fruits of our labour for tens of years to come, but I feel that perhaps we are at a bit of a moment in time where we will be sort of pioneering the change, and then maybe in 50 years time we'll see those benefits come through. It's unusual. We tend to go through life wanting to see stuff instantly. It's like that consumer habit. You want instant gratification. Well, with climate change, etc., we're not going to get instant gratification. So we've just got to do it and feel good that potentially we're giving that gratification further down the line for other people.
John, who inspires you?
I've just probably told you that answer. There's not really one. I mean, I could be classic and go, someone like David Attenborough, because if you look at it from that point of view, he reaches out to the many, and that again is what you need is people who've got that capsule kind of. He's a personality that everyone is aware of and knows. So I think as an individual, he serves a huge purpose in that sense. But for me, it's all the people that I meet in my business or other businesses, people like yourself, even all those people who have got that absolute purpose to make a difference. And it doesn't matter how famous they are, small they are, big they are. We're all in this game together. So I've got absolute respect for anyone who is trying to make a difference on their own terms.
Thank you for that, John. Where will you be in 10 years' time?
Oh God. I will still be working with Pala. I'm 100% sure of that. It's a slow build as a business, and there are so many things I want to do with the business. So it's for me, say the bigger we get, the more change we can affect. And for me, my kind of, I don't know, my people have those, is it their made it moments, and my made it moment will be just being able to go out and carry on looking at these projects and sort of looking at the builds that we're hopefully achieving and the change, and just carrying on having that effect. It's a huge motivation. Someone asked me the other day, you're a very small company, and I said, you are, because there's only literally a few of us and a couple of freelancers, but I say, well, actually, we represent 125 weavers in Ghana, and that's really important to me. And they are part of my company. I feel that they're part of my company in that sense. And so yeah, no, it's. I'll definitely be doing this. I'll probably be wearing the same clothes 10 years later, keeping my sustainable wardrobe, keeping it very unfresh. But yeah, it's. And then I don't know. I'll be quite old by then. I don't know what I'll be doing. I'll be hopefully having a bit of a lifestyle as well. It does take a lot of time running your own business, but I'm hopeful that I can perhaps get a bit of free time in there and carry on doing my paddleboarding and all bits and pieces which I do in my spare time.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much, John, for speaking to us today. I really loved it. Please, could you tell us how we can connect with you? Where do we find you, and how do we support your mission?
Yeah. So you can find us at palaeyewear.com. And obviously we have an Instagram page. For me, actually, my one ask would be, if you do hit our homepage, just to sign up to our newsletter, because our newsletter, if you got a second, I'll just explain. Because our catchline in a bit, but our mission is to see the world better, and we do that obviously through the work we do in Africa, enabling people to see the world better. Clearly, as a provider of sunglasses and soon to be optical frames, we're enabling our customers to see the world better. And then sort of the third sort of the third pillar is our as our newsletter, which is interviewing a lot of people who are at the margins of where climate change. So we've interviewed chief scientist of the Barry Reef Foundation and scientists involved in microplastics and all this kind of stuff. And yes, they obviously acknowledge the problems that are afoot, but equally they are looking at the solutions, and it's their way of seeing the world better. So our newsletters are never full of pictures of sunglasses. You can find our sunglasses when you want. It's more about trying to communicate small changes that are happening in the world. So it's, to me, I think that's quite a valuable resource. So for me, if you come to and join our newsletter, that's great. If you're at COP26, we are at Goals House venue, which is one of the big speakers venue. We've got a little stand up there. So yeah, go up there and shout very loudly how cool Pala look on the stand. So there was a lot of famous people around at that time. So, but yeah, so that's, if you want to find us, you can find us on our website, and it'd be lovely if you sign up to our newsletter.
Thank you, John. I think you've been kind enough to provide the community with their promotion as well.
Yes, so Kind 15 will give you a 15% discount at Pala. So by all means, that'll be to the end of the year. So by all means, if you want to buy a nice little Christmas present for someone or for yourself, that's probably the best way to go. Thank
you, John. I really appreciate it. We see you. Thank you for now, and we'll see you very soon. We'll be following your journey.
Brilliant. I say, lovely to talk as always. And again, massive respect for the work you do too. So yeah, we'll definitely be following each other.
Thank you, John. Bye for now.
Cheers for now. Take care.
If you enjoyed my conversation with John from Pala today, don't forget to like, comment, and share this with someone that you care about. It's our mission to make it sustainable, attainable, and accessible for all. And thank you for your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye for now.